WoW developer interview with Morgan Day, the Mr. GM interview from his Looking for Group event. Let's check this thing out.
Hello.
You know.
Right. So Morgan, is this the first time you've been interviewed in front of 100 people?
I'm sure it has not been, nor will it be the last.
100 people in London?
That might be a first, yes.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome to with our event, LFG, we're doing here in London. We've got a bunch of WoW enthusiasts here who are very excited to speak to you and hear what you have to say about World of Warcraft and, of course, the War Within and everything to do with WoW.
Let's fire off those
Yeah, for
questions.
sure. I'm stoked to be here. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you being up on a Saturday morning as well. That's super cool.
It's not too bad for me. You know, it's like 10. What time is it over there?
It is 6:00 p.m. So.
Oh, all right. So it's like dinner time for you. I just had breakfast. You know, that's good.
Awesome. Well, I guess we'll just jump into like some general kind of WoW questions, I guess. So now that Dragonflight's almost over, what has been your fondest memory of the expansion?
Oh boy, that's hard to choose from. Also, do you mean like as a player or as like a developer of the game? Those are very different answers for me, honestly.
I think a developer. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Well, you know, I am a huge fan of like raids and Mythic Plus.
I'll be honest, for me, it's probably Ashcomder. Looting Ashcomder.
But I feel like the team always does
That's a good one.
A killer job with those. But for Dragonflight, I really felt like we were just making so much like different and new and really novel and inspiring content, right? Like the Blue Dragonflight storyline, I think was amazing, and seeing everyone get geeked out over
That was
like
good.
you know that timer that popped over Caligus's head in terms of like, oh, what's gonna happen? You know, like I love when we have opportunities to make the world feel alive and like it's dynamic and changing all the time. And I feel like the team really did a stellar job there. Not only that, but just like, you know, a lot of the like interesting, almost new modes that the team experimented with, right? Like Thunderstorm, I had a ton of fun with. I stayed up way too late last night playing Remix. And those are all like just really cool ideas that really stem from the team, and seeing those things come to light and be so well received by the community was so inspiring. So that was all amazing.
Right. Yeah, I think probably the best thing that they've done in Dragonflight is experimenting, being willing to take chances, and then listening to feedback. We just talked about the WoW remix, feedback that they've been taking on, and that's great. They've been doing that all along the way. They've also been doing a lot of experimental stuff, right? Not being afraid. Plunderstorm, controversial PvP event for a lot of people, but a lot of fun at the same time, and I was glad that they just took the chance and did it. And then, you got dragon riding and everything else that's happened in the game. The complete redesign of basically Mythic Plus in this last season, which I've enjoyed. I think Mythic Plus has been good this season. A lot of the chances that they took, I think that's been really good for the game, rather than just being worried about not taking chances and just stagnating and just giving us the same shit over and over. Yeah, discovering Samiccus. What a great moment that was, right, Tweak?
Definitely some fun things in Dragonfly. I really liked Time Rifts. When someone asked me the other day, I was like, Time Rifts was my favorite thing. I really enjoyed that. Thought that was a good time.
Nice.
Those were fun.
So, a question that we haven't, well, I'm pretty sure we haven't seen it in Alpha. So, Keystone Master Mount of Dragonflight was the Armoredon, I believe, each time.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the War Within coming up and Dynamic
Probably one of the shittier Keystone Master Mounts. I'm not going to lie. I did not like the Armoredon.
Being very much a thing. And of course, Delve's getting that awesome aeroplane, the customizable
that
one. That's
cool.
fantastic. What could we potentially expect from Keystone Master Mounts in?
Yes. Skyriding, previously known as Dynamic Flight. So in the War Within, that Keystone
They're calling it Skyriding now, by the way. I've seen it in a couple articles now. I was like, what the hell is that? I guess that's what they're calling Dynamic Flight now, Skyriding.
Mount. Okay. It actually will be a Skyriding mount, and I'm not sure if people have seen it yet, but we can talk about it. It's actually one of those, if you're familiar with the Ringing Deeps, there's those big earthen mechs that kind of
this is cool.
Walk around, and they're doing lots of manual labor, or you might fight them. It will be a mount like that. So, it will have skywriting available. And really the goal moving forward is for all of them to be able to have skywriting moving forward. You mentioned in Dragonflight it didn't have that, which, definitely saw feedback from the community that they felt that was weird. But ultimately with dragon riding, we weren't sure that we were going to move that forward and have it be an evergreen system within World of Warcraft. So we didn't want to, create a mount for Keystone Master that maybe wouldn't have, you know, all of its functionality moving forward. So we wanted to do something that we knew, was maybe a bit more traditional. But now that we know, dragon riding, aka sky riding, is here to stay, moving forward, those mounts will for sure have that functionality.
Nice.
Amazing. I know there's a engineering mount that's pretty similar to that. Is it kind of like that one? I've been flying around with that on the alpha. It's like it is one of the mech things that the.
Yeah, it might be similar to that, but I'm sure the art team is incredible. I'm sure they're going to make it feel very unique.
So this is a bit of a selfish question, really. So I'm a collector. I love collecting things. Transmog, warbands, and Warvin is the greatest thing.
Yeah,
Ever.
real quick. By the way, this is the basically the mount that they were talking about. We've seen this. We saw this yesterday. So if you haven't seen it, this is the mech suit he's talking about. So this is going to be a really cool Mythic Plus mount for Keystone Master. Definitely better than what we've got in Dragonflight. This isn't the one, but this is basically what the skeleton's going to be based off of. We'll have to see what colorway we get and stuff.
I think with the Transmog collection between like different armor types and things like that. We noticed in the testing was like we were doing quests and it would collect all the appearances for all the different armor types, but one of the big questions that people are curious about is it retroactive to quests that we've already done where we need to redo Lawmaster, or is that going to be kind of a massive spam of appearances when we log in?
Yeah, so I mean, Quest will continue to grant the transmog and should be retroactive. And then, also with warbands coming in, the War Within, any items that you have in your bank or your inventory, those will become collectible, like I'm sure you saw. Sadly, if you deleted things,
Let us lay waste to this realm.
Mac, thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to our Scourge. That's interesting, though. So you can't delete things right now. If you delete things, they will not be transferred over into the MOG system. What the hell? So you got to hang on to all this shit in the bank right now. Anything that you have that basically is not something that your character would typically wear, like a cloth set, and you're playing your plate characters. You got to hang on to them until this goes live, and then you'll be able to delete them.
I think those will count. Sorry. So, make sure you collect things and keep them in your bank or your void storage. And then for Lore
Raph, you were at
Master,
this
do you mean the
event?
tabard? Or, sorry, what was
Well,
the,
just like
the
going
specifics
back
of that
to
question?
the quest, basically. Just like
Oh, okay, yeah.
do it again, yeah. But if it's
Yeah, and
then we don't. So yeah, and he got a little woo from the crowd as well, by the way.
oh, was there? I can't hear the woo. So
Yeah, they were like woo. So yeah, that's fantastic. Awesome.
You're joking. That was not you, Raph. You're fucking around right now.
awesome.
So kind of sticking with the War Within, Hallowfall is definitely the best zone. And obviously
That's true,
people have
that's
seen the
hilarious.
incredible changing crystal, definitely not an Aura in the sky. And does that affect anything in the zone when it happens? Because it is obviously a pretty epic transition. Is there anything in particular that we can expect to happen in the zone?
Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying Hallowfall. That zone is in fact incredible. The team also had all kinds. I'm not sure if you noticed, but there's all kinds of really like cool tech that the team created for that zone in particular, with that massive light source off in the distance, so that kind of the light and atmosphere changes as that crystal changes, and it's even based on the proximity to the crystal versus traditional WoW zones. It's just like this is the look for the zone. In terms of the what it might impact in the world. Yeah, that's for sure mechanics. Like, I saw you the other day messing around with the spread the light activity in the zone. That will have some things that change based on the crystal. I know the wildlife is going to change a lot based on the state of the crystal, and the team has also talked about other, ideas and things that could change based on that. I mentioned earlier I love when the world changes based on things like that, and it feels much more dynamic.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the. What was the zone?
Really cool. I think that Hallowfall's zone tech that they're doing is freaking amazing. I'm sure it's going to continue forward in other iterations and other zones. But across the board right now, Hallowfall's is the best zone by far. I haven't even played it yet, and I know that just from the lore, the look of it, the aesthetic, the gear that you can get, the transmogs. Oh my god, I can't wait to go to Hallowfall.
Not zone. The little town in classic WoW. Was it Pyrewood Village, right? Where everyone would become like a worgen at night, and then during the day they were normal lands, like stuff like that. Yeah, and Silverpine. Thank you. Like that was one of my most memorable experiences in playing through classic, like seeing that change, like whoa, what just happened? So anytime we have opportunities and really clean like fantasy hooks, like the big crystal in the sky, leaning into that stuff the team loves to do.
Looks like
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna
think
be
it's definitely
awesome.
been a fan favorite. We're only a couple weeks into alpha, and people are always like, "This is the greatest thing ever." um,
Glad to hear.
so completely different. So with guilds being cross realm, I believe in the War Within, we will be able to fulfill guild crafting orders to a player in the guild on another realm. Or I guess, okay, more of a general question: is there any changes we can expect to the crafting order system in the War Within?
That one is a big one.
A bit of a
Because
loaded question.
yes, yes,
Sorry.
you sure can have guild crafting orders even if you are cross realm. We made very
How
sure that that
rude.
was something. Yeah, that functionality was very important to many people on the team, so we made sure to get that in. I think the crafting order change I am personally most excited about is
That's good. I mean, for people who do professions, the crafting order stuff was important, so that's good to see the changes in that. There's a change for the guilds that they're talking about now, which is basically that now guilds can. I think it was cross realm guilds can now do crafting orders or something like that for each other. Whatever it was, the crafting system has been a good change in the game for this for Dragonflight. I haven't gotten that far into it. I'm not gonna lie, you guys know that I don't do a lot of crafting, but that doesn't mean it's not good. It has been good. So was he saying that we got to, if we buy the Garrosh Tusk shoulders on my druid, we have to hold them in the bank until we can transmog? But isn't the Garrosh transmog shoulders just a transmog? If it's just something you click and it adds it to your collection, it's fine. He's talking about the old shit that if it's like the actual pieces of gear that are not just a transmog click into your thing, you got to hang on to them until it becomes available. Then you can delete them. That's what he's talking about.
that we will have NPC
You can't
crafting
learn it
orders,
unless
and
you
that
were
is to
playing. Yeah, then
say,
just hang on to
you know,
them, I
when you
guess.
go speak to the crafting order person, they might have things that they personally want, or we'll use Dragonflight as an example, like maybe the
And yeah,
Valkyrie.
definitely, Raph is right. If you got the shoulders in retail, if you're talking about the remix ones, that's different. But if you got the ones in retail, you got to hang on to them. Do not delete them.
Dragon Accord is in need of some weapons or some
Make
materials,
archaeology
they'll
crafting.
have a crafting order that you can fulfill from them, and that will be something that everyone can do, because we know initially a lot of the feedback we got on crafting orders was it was you know it's an amazing system, especially for guilds, like you mentioned. Like the number of times I just throw out guild crafting orders when the new patch comes out, and then you know the guild
The
tooth
NPC
fairy for
crafting's
whatever
good.
profession it is sends it back to me is always amazing. But if I'm someone who isn't like at the head of the curve in terms of my crafting knowledge, it can be kind of hard to interact with that system. So with the NPC crafting order system, that's something that we want to make it so that a lot broader audience will be able to engage in that and feel like it's rewarding. We want to almost treat that like as a new vector to receive rewards. So maybe you'll get knowledge from completing one of those, or maybe you'll get some other kind of resource or material in return, not just gold. So we think that'll be a really, really cool system to bring it to the War Within that really helps build on that foundation of the professions. We really revamped in Dragonflight, and now we're looking to kind of broaden the audience of people who might feel like that could be something fun to dip their toes into with the War Within.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess a kind of follow up to that. Would they be like personal NPC orders, or would they be like a scramble to get the NPC order still? Like when it.
No, that's what I mean. Like the goal would not be that like, oh,
Right, sorry, yeah.
I missed that one too. You know what I mean? Like we want it to be something that like, hey, yeah, the Valdrakken
Seems
Accord,
like.
they're big. They need, a
Yeah,
lot
they wear a
of,
lot of clothes.
crossbows or whatever. Exactly, right? So those would be something that should, you should go and have an expectation that there is a crafting order, maybe from a person, hopefully, ideally. But
It
also
doesn't. It doesn't sound like he's going to follow up with archaeology. But Kale Sauce, yeah, you're right. I feel like going underground right now with this whole expansion, archaeology should be a thing. They should bring it back. Archaeology was a fun profession to play for sure, and unfortunately, it's just gotten sidetracked. There's nothing to do for it anymore. They kind of just abandoned it. I would like them to see go revisit archaeology and make it really good again.
if not, then there might be one that's, kind of
Arc will be
one of
held
those more
off until
public ones
midnight,
from the
maybe.
NPCs.
Awesome.
The faction in town.
Fantastic. I guess more of a general one again. Like with Dragonflight, was there anything like the community reaction to any like features you guys put out that was like kind of surprising? Like that just became a fan favorite, and you were like, oh, okay, that's awesome.
Huh. My head just went to two places. One is the easy answer, which is dragon riding, right? Like now skywriting. We were really unsure how that would be received from the players, but
Yeah, it's a
ultimately,
great
you know,
addition to
like
the game.
we spent a tremendous amount of effort on the team's part to make that something that is evergreen. And also, you know, a huge thing that I'm excited about is in the War Within, like basically all of your flying mounts will be skywriting enabled, which is going to be awesome. Seeing people's like Neuron heads and stuff fly around town doing skywriting. Um, so that is probably the easy answer. The second place my head went, which was a little more philosophical, because it doesn't really speak to a specific feature, but just that idea that we really were pursuing with Dragonflight, this idea of refurbishment being a theme within our features, right? Like this is the first expansion we've done in too many years, what, like 10, 11 years, where we didn't have some kind of, you know, like garrison or artifact or covenant. You know,
Right.
we were really excited about this idea of revisiting the foundational systems of the game, like talents
Yeah, that
and
was a great thing for Dragonflight is that the lack of an AP grind and then just revisiting the systems and making them better. They've done a lot with Mythic Plus and that system and how it works now. I think it's a lot better. They've done a lot with the core game systems. Obviously, there's always class balancing and stuff like that going on, but they've gone back to the basics and kind of built that foundation to go forward with. And we talked about that before. That Dragonflight is kind of the foundation for the World Soul Saga series to take off on. And that's good. They've even laid out foundation for lore with the Ridicron and Zalateth and everything else. So I think all of it's been really good. Obviously, there's been lulls in the story, but I feel like the real story is coming in the War Within. This story has just been a kind of a gap filler moment for the most part. As it stands, the alpha, it is either what I had fun in archaeology. Yeah, a lot of people did. It was nice in Legion. I agree. The only thing I want from skywriting and BC riding is the ability to toggle it per mount. You can, Stoic. You can toggle it. It was either no, you'll be able to toggle it. I don't know about alpha, but yeah, you'll be able to toggle it on and off for your mounts. So dynamic versus regular flying, you'll be able to
professions.
per
And
mount. Yeah.
with War Within, we're, you know, kind of expanding on that philosophy with things like war bands and just bringing more evergreen things to the game. Um,
Mid-flight, I actually don't. I don't know how that's gonna work. I don't know if you're gonna be able to do it mid-flight, or you're gonna have to land, click, and then take off. You might have to do that.
so, you know, that's something that we were unsure how that was going to be received by the community, right? Like we have been doing something like one of those really, you know, epic fantasy forward features for each expansion, where this one was more of a like, hey, let's just, you know, revisit our roots and our foundation and see what we can build upon there. I think that was well received as well, and that's something that we, you know, are really excited for, that kind of philosophy shift in how we develop World of Warcraft, and are looking forward to, you know, seeing how the War Within and the other, you know, ideas that we have stewing for the World Soul Saga are received by the community.
I love that. There's just so much WoW right now. I look
Yeah.
around the room and people are just playing Remix. Like it's obviously launched like a couple days ago. I don't have this written down, but I'm
Yes.
going to ask you anyway. How has the reaction to Remix been? Like people have really, really enjoyed it, and as you said, you've been playing it as well. So how?
Yeah.
Yeah, like how is everyone pretty pleased with it? Could we? I don't know, see something else? I don't know, maybe Legion?
Well, you just got Mrs. Pandaria. Slow down. but yeah, I mean, I think
There's no way they
you know,
won't do another
externally,
one.
I browse all kinds of exciting social media and forums and stuff on the internets, and the reception, you know, from the team's perspective feels really positive. There's a lot of awesome engagement. There's people who are having a lot of fun, maybe playing some content they've never seen before with the new light. And then also, you know, there's the whole kind of gems system where there's all kinds of fun build your own class element that puts just a bit of a twist on it for people who might have experienced it before. You know, like I, I worked on and played through all of Mists and Pandaria, and it feels fresh, even
the
through.
the thing about the remix event, right, is it gives you like godlike powers, right? You eventually become insanely powerful. If they did a remix for Legion, to me that was still the most powerful we ever became in the game because of the Legion artifact AP and everything, and how you could just infinitely keep power scaling on that thing. I can't imagine if you had the Legion power, right? Your typical like how OP we became plus the remix powers. You would be like on an Azeroth destroying level of power by the time that whole remix event was done. But it would be fun for sure. And that's the nice thing about the remix stuff is they can do crazy stuff in it because it's an event in a bubble, and then it ends, and we don't got to worry about whatever they do in it. But yeah, Legion remix would be great. Obviously, Wrath remix I would enjoy. But I do think they'll do another one of these events because they said it's based on feedback, and they've been getting good feedback for sure.
The lens of, one
Unless it comes to the frog farm, they got bad feedback on that after they deleted it.
I'm playing a new class, and I'm really excited that we're leaning into the warband system that's
He'd
coming in
slap
the
the
War
Azeroth
Within, because
Titans.
everyone is like, all right, well, let me play a new class that I can collect some new transmogs and have a new class ready when the War Within comes out. So it's a really cool opportunity to lean into like the warband system and let people have some cool new collectibles that they can chase going into the next expansion, while experiencing content that feels relevant and in a lot of ways really challenging. People have called out there's been some real difficulty spikes in some of the content, but the team is keeping an eye on that. We're working really hard behind the scenes to make sure we're fixing a lot of those issues or for the feedback from the community as it comes up. Um, and what was the second part of your question? Sorry. Or will we get more?
You
Will
know,
we get more?
I mean, I'd love to
I
see
guess
more.
I guess I kind of sort of answered that, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, like I mentioned, in terms of as a player, what was my favorite part? A lot of these really fun, cool, novel ideas are things that I've been really enjoying. And ultimately, the team is really focused on, building excitement within the community. And we want to make sure that we're listening to what people are enjoying. And, based on feedback from the community, based on,
Yeah.
how much people are excited to see more, and that will definitely.
Yeah, these little events. The good thing is they do build excitement in the community, especially during lulls, content lulls. We have awakened raids and everything. It's fine, but it's nothing really new. This remix stuff is a nice thing that keeps the community alive, keeps content coming out. It was a boom on Twitch when it came out. Everyone was watching WoW again, so it is nice that there's these events like Plunderstorm, like Remix, that kind of keep the game feeling alive while there isn't too much content going on in the current retail version of the game. Do you plan on running Siege at all? I don't know. We'll have to see. Probably not. I'll take WoD. WoD Remix would be great. I don't think anyone disagrees with the fact that WoD leveling was a lot of fun. The problem with Warlords of Draenor, why it gets a bad rap, is the end game content was just fucking non-existent. It was horrible. You just stood there and did nothing. You sat in your garrison all day by yourself doing nothing because there was no content to do. But in terms of leveling, it would be great. And they could totally fix WoD. Yeah, they could add more end game content to it for sure. Yeah, I definitely think they'll do more remix events. I see no reason not to keep doing these remixes. Exactly. Yeah, why not? It's old content that they're not using that they can easily kind of recreate to build up, excitement and everything in the community, keep people playing WoW, keep their WoW subs active and everything else. So, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't keep doing them. Yes.
Inform our future decisions. We don't want to,
It's all
kind of
dubbies.
fall into that idea of, oh, well, what did we do last time? Let's just do that again. We want to try to keep things interesting and novel. And I've said many a time, I feel like one of the biggest strengths of World of Warcraft is this huge library of this amazing content that we have from
Oh
the
yeah.
past, and it's all still really amazing, fun content. And how can we leverage that better, right? Like we've done, you might have seen like time walking instances or raids that we've added in the past. And ultimately, we wanted to take a step back from that and say, like, well, what could we do differently? How could we make this experience feel different, um, and maybe a bit more exciting than the thing that we've already given the players a couple times from?
Yeah, and
Uh,
the cool thing is the whole different part of it is kind of what Stoic's talking about. They use the Infinite Dragonflight, right? They actually have lore behind the remix event, which is really cool. The Infinite Dragonflight did this thing, and now we have like a somewhat different or hyper powerful version of the Mists of Pandaria expansion, which is cool. Now, could the Bronze Dragonflights retcon some canon events like the Jailer? That'd be amazing. I wish. I wish we could just imagine the Infinite Dragonflight came and said, "We are deleting Shadowlands from your memory." I would play that role so hard that I would actually delete it from my memory. I would not remember it anymore.
and
Be great.
this idea was something that came up, and it's been, I think, super epic. Had a really good time with it so far.
It was like an expansion launch on Thursday. It was worldwide. So shout out to you and the team
Yes.
for making it worldwide.
Yes, our server team has been pulling heroic after heroic with how much stuff has been being launched, and how, behind the scenes there's a high degree of difficulty, like with Blunderstorm, like we were talking about earlier, like this idea that, oh, wait a minute, like I load into World of Warcraft, but then there's almost like, it feels like a different game within World of Warcraft that I'm loading into, right? And there were things that we did You know, like you couldn't use add-ons in Plunderstorm, for instance. You know, that was something that
What a nice thought.
was not trivial for the team to pull off, and I'm really, you know, pleased that the community has, you know, enjoyed all that stuff so much. It's awesome to see kind of come to fruition.
Yeah, I think we're in like a bit of a renaissance of WoW at the minute. I think we're in a good spot. I think that, I mean,
Yeah, agreed.
being able to gather a bunch of people in London to play WoW has been pretty awesome. But we do have to wrap it up.
Going
now,
on
Logan.
going on 20 years, right?
Literally 20 years this year. Couldn't imagine you have anything planned for it, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
more
we're gonna wrap
things.
it up. We're gonna wrap it up, Morgan. I'm gonna get everyone here to give you a big cheer because you can't see us, unfortunately, but you know they are here. LFG, say hello to Morgan.
There's Raph.
I heard a little something.
I hope you can hear it.
Okay.
Just pretend if you
Yeah.
can't. If you can't, just be like, oh yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah. I'll mute the stream real quick. Hold that up.
All right, we going again? We doing it again? All right.
No, you're good. I was just joking.
Getting awkward
Awesome.
at the
Well, thank you very much for your
Nice.
time. I appreciate it, especially on a Saturday morning. Have a wonderful
got
rest of
it.
your day, and yeah,
All
I
right.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. Enjoy your evening. I'll talk to you all later.
Nice little interview there. Yeah. I kind of question how the Bronze Dragon flight can influence interplanar events from Azeroth to Draenor, and if they can even touch the Shadowlands. I guess time might fall under the arcane cosmos. I would think it does. Time probably does, because Aman'Thul is like, you know, he can control time, and he's made of arcane magic, right? He's a Titan. So I would think time probably does. Also, if you look at like the arcane spec for mages, they have a lot of time-based spells, right? That's basically everything about them is based on time weaving and all this other shit, time lapse, rewinding time, hyper time with them. Basically, their ability their heroism is a time-based spell. So yeah, if I had to guess, I would say time probably is arcane-based in terms of its power, structure. But I don't know how that would change anything. How that affects Shadowlands, because you can use arcane magic in the Shadowlands. I mean, it's not like you couldn't play arcane. So who knows? But they're never going to do anything with Shadowlands. I joke about that, but they're never going to do anything. They're just going to, kind of move away from it slowly, and we'll forget about the jailer or anything that happened there.